It's time for an Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and this time around we're going to be talking about Wesley life at home. And this topic was suggested by my friend and one of our sponsors, Lisa Zylstra at Park Center. Wesley Life has been a sponsor off and on here for the last year and a half that I've been doing this podcast. And I have said many times that I was so glad that in the last years of my sister's life that I was glad that she was in Park Center. They did such a great job taking care of my sister. And I mentioned that too in my podcast with the folks that I'm talking with today at Wesley Life at Home. They are going to be opening up a new office in downtown Newton, and it'll be on the east side of the square in the old Blooming Nails location, which is going to be just to the north of the Red Pride Cafe. And that should be around May 1st. And that'll be a nice thing to have in Newton. So many people are wanting care at home in one way or the other these days. And so you'll find out all about that next on the Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast. So make sure that you check that out. So let's talk about Wesley Life Park Center. It is a great facility. And again, I'm so glad that my sister Deb was in that in the last years of her life. Pursue your joy at Park Center by offering living options across a continuum. Park Center provides vital, enriching environments for everyone, a community for healthy living focused on holistic health, well-being. Their programming enhances emotional, intellectual, and spiritual well-being. You know, this is a kind of life that's healthier in every way. Park Center is at home in Newton, with many residents and team members having lived in their lives. To learn more about Park Center's different levels of living and to find out the lifestyle that's right for you, contact Lisa Zylstra at 641-791-5000. And I just want to mention, too, that Wesley Life at Home has been around for a number of years, but they're opening this office on May 1st, and so you'll be able to have direct access to information and whatnot about Wesley Life at Home in downtown Newton. So you'll be able to do that. I know my friend Ron, whose father passed away a few years ago, had Wesley Life at Home, and they would come right to the house. And I think his father did pass away in his 90s at home, and it was very convenient to be able to have that important aspect of his father's life, to have the last few days and hours to be able to take care of his father at home. And they found it to be very convenient, and it was something that they found to be a joy. So if you would like to find out more about that, listen up to this podcast, and we'll have more details on that as we go through that. All right, another fine sponsor, of course, is Newton Clinic. I want to thank Mark Thayer and the gang at Newton Clinic for sponsoring this podcast. And spring is here, and it's a perfect time for a health reset. I'll be seeing my doctor, Joel Levette, here coming up in this upcoming week. And if you've been putting off your annual physical or wellness visit, now is the time to check in. Preventative care helps you stay ahead of your health all year long at Newton Clinic. Newton Clinic, be treated like family at Newton Clinic. Another fine sponsor, Ryan at Ryan's Tire and Auto, and they're going to be closed today, Saturday, if you're listening to it on Saturday, April 4th. While they won't be out hunting for eggs in the Great Glass Easter egg hunt, they will be getting in on the fun. They're hiding custom Ryan's Tire and Auto eggs around town, so keep your eyes peeled and watch their Facebook page for clues on where to find them. If you spot one, be sure to snap a picture, post it, and tag them. And happy hunting from the gang at Ryan's Tire and Auto on 1st Avenue East in Newton. Another fine sponsor, of course, is the fine folks at Advantage Credit Union.
If you've been fouled by your financial institution, then blow the whistle. This is Coach Miles from Advantage Credit Union with some one-on-one for a financial victory. At ACU, you're treated like you own the team because you actually do. Advantage Credit Union offers great deposit rates. You actually earn interest instead of paying a monthly fee at you know where.
Make shot, good!
If you live or work in Jasper County or 18 other central Iowa counties, you are eligible to join. Visit us in downtown Newton or online at acuiowa.org. It's a game winner at ACU.
Remember NCUA.
It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and I'm with Stacy and Amy, who are with Wesley Life at Home. and they're opening up a new office in downtown Newton. It's going to be over by the Red Pride Cafe. And I guess I want to know, have you decided when you're going to be opening that office, Stacy?
We haven't yet. It should be sometime actually later this month. We had to do a few updates and whatnot in it, and those are all completed. So it's really just finalizing getting the sign up and kind of our last minute things. So I would guess here towards mid to end of month.
Okay, and Stacy, before we started the podcast, you kind of explained what categories and what kind of departments you take care of at Wesley Life, and you talked a little bit about what Amy does. So I'll let you describe what you do, and then Amy, you can talk about what you do.
Perfect. I am the executive director for Wesley Life at Home. So I oversee all of our home and community-based service programs. So those include home health and hospice, palliative care, in-home services. We have a program called Well Ahead. And like I said, so those are all kind of what are under my umbrella. And then Amy's really our resident expert in hospice and palliative care.
Okay, tell us about that, Amy.
Sure. So we have a hospice program at Wesley Life, and a lot of people think that our hospice program only serves our buildings, but actually we go into the community too and follow people wherever they call home. So we're really trying to help those people who are at end of life with a terminal illness that just want to focus on comfort and compassion and wrapping their loved ones around them and having us support them.
And I found out personally, because I used to think when you think of hospice care, oh, they only have 2 weeks to live or 2 months to live. And that's not the case. It wasn't the case with my sister.
Right. Look at Jimmy Carter for an example. He was on hospice for about 19 months. And all of the studies show the longer that you're on hospice care, the higher quality of life you have, and you actually live longer. So people battling these terminal illnesses, they're going in and out of the hospital, they're going in and out of doctor's appointments, but instead we just have a nurse come to their home a few times a week at the beginning to help them with their pain management, with their symptom management, and then help them if they're having any issues with infections and do that preventative medicine. So if they're starting to get a UTI or a respiratory infection, we can get an antibiotic going that day instead of waiting to get into the doctor's appointment and then waiting for that physician to send the order or the script to the pharmacy. So it's a lot faster of a service, and we can be bedside pretty much immediately.
I've heard that some people even graduate from hospice care.
They do, yeah. So most of the people who come onto hospice have Medicare as an insurance or a Medicare replacement policy. And hospice's job is to prove to Medicare that people are declining even slightly to stay on our services. And sometimes because of the amount of care that they're getting, people do better and then come off of our services. And that's one of the reasons why we created our palliative program, is because we have people who are either too healthy for hospice or just not ready for it. And so we want to have a place where they can have a nurse practitioner, nurse, social worker still come into their home and care for them, even though they're not at that last 6 months of end of life that Medicare requires for us.
So palliative care is like pre-hospice care, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I always wondered what that meant, because Jason was talking about that at our last grief support meeting, and that leads me on to my next question. You provide those services also?
Yes, we do. We are the only palliative care program in central Iowa that does bedside visits, and so that's pretty important. We realized that there was a huge gap in having people go from the hospital to skilled or hospital from home care that still had that terminal diagnosis. And then when they're ready to be done with those services, they weren't quite ready for hospice, either because of treatment or therapies, or maybe they just weren't emotionally ready for it. So that's what our palliative care program does. We provide services to people with a terminal diagnosis who are either seeking treatment, seeking therapies, or just aren't emotionally ready to make that big hospice decision.
And now, after someone has lost a loved one, such as myself, you also supply grief support services too. I know that for a fact because I'm in a grief support group. Tell us about that also, Amy.
Sure. So our bereavement support group and our bereavement support is headed by our spiritual care team. And we follow people for 13 months after the death of a loved one, and it can extend beyond that. You know, we really tailor it to what people need, but we have an annual butterfly memorial release in the summer, late spring, early summer. We do mailings, we do phone calls, we do support groups. So it really is just tailored to what that person really needs. Sometimes we can refer them on to a therapist if they need a little bit more than we're able to provide, but we do that wraparound service for them.
Okay, and Stacy, I know that I have a friend of mine whose father passed away in his 90s a few years ago, and I remember driving by their house and seeing a Wesley Life vehicle at his house because he was, he was terminally ill and was in hospice care. Now, the opening of the office in Newton, is that going to change services or anything, or how is that going to make anything different by having an office in Newton?
Absolutely. So we started probably 6 to 8 months ago, just kind of looking at the surrounding communities. So we serve about 16 communities in central Iowa with all of our different services. And we started looking for a community that we really felt like would welcome us and really would, buy into kind of having a little bit of an office there and a presence. And we really have a great relationship with Park Center already, and decided that Newton was really a spot that we wanted to kind of look into.
What made you decide that? Because of your relationship with Park Center?
I think the relationship with Park Center, but also Amy spends time going to Jasper County Cares. Like, it's just a very involved and a community that just is really invested in what's going on.
And one of our hospice physicians is Dr. Patrick Edwards, and he is such a pillar within Newton too. Mm-hmm. And we just have such an important tie to him.
Yes. So that's kind of how we decided, let's see what this would look like. And we fortunately found a great spot. The community has been wonderful to help us get kind of up and going and know what this might look like. So that really is kind of how it came to fruition. And really, we just want a landing spot that's going to create interest, that people, if they have questions about all of the different services, we see more and more of there just being sometimes less and less services as you get outside of really that urban Des Moines. So we just were looking for a place where we can really, settle in and be able to be a part of the community and really provide services for those in the community and surrounding.
Are more and more people choosing to stay at home as opposed to going to a retirement home or someplace like that, like Park Center?
Absolutely. If you look at the data that's all coming out and from the baby boomer generation at this point, it's basically said that 93% of them want to stay in their homes. So while we have beautiful and wonderful communities such as Park Center, there are a lot of individuals, obviously 9 out of 10, that would really just as soon to age in their home, to be able to have, if they get towards the end of life, be able to have hospice come into their home, all of those pieces. So as we continue to move forward, Wesley at Home's been around for 21 years, but I think the community-based services are going to become even more important as we continue to have an aging population. And so that's kind of where we come into play.
So what kind of services do you provide at home?
So we provide insurance-based services, so such as home health. So say somebody that has come out of a recent hospitalization, or if they've gone to their doctor and they've had some recent falls, maybe they had just the flu recently. Things at home have gotten a little harder. They might be a little weaker. That's where our home health team comes into play. We have nurses, we have physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, we have bath aides, all of those pieces. That tends to be more short term, so kind of intermittent. You get better, you feel better, you move on. We have hospice, obviously, as Amy just talked about. We kind of had that gap in between the two, which is how we arrived at starting a palliative program that really would help meet those needs. We also do private duty, essentially, or private pay in-home at an hourly rate. And those caregivers will do almost anything people need, whether it's transportation, whether it's laundry, whether it's just companionship, whether they come home from the hospital and they need someone to stay overnight for a few nights just until they're feeling comfortable.
This had to be explained to me when my sister first went into Park Center. She had occupational therapy and physical therapy. Mm-hmm. What's the difference?
Well, that's a great question for me, Jamie, because I actually am a physical therapist by trade. So when you get into kind of a home and community kind of setting, physical therapists are going to work very much on kind of mobility. So all the things that you need to do in your home, whether it be, getting in and out of bed, getting up and down off of chairs, getting in and out of your home. Is it steps? What do you need to maneuver? Really working on kind of getting that strength and stamina back. Those occupational therapists kind of work more on those more what we would call activities of daily living. So do you need to get dressed? Do you need to be able to bathe? You need to be able to make yourself a meal, or at least get access to be able to do that. So while there is overlap between the two in a lot of things, especially in the home, that's kind of where you see the focus come in.
Right, fantastic. This is a great idea. Wesley Life at Home is, you said it's been going on for a long time, hasn't it? How many years?
It'll be 22 in November.
Wow, that's great. Do you have other offices around?
You know what? This is actually our only office. We have right now in Central Iowa, we have about 200 employees, though, that work for Wesley Life at Home, and pretty much the majority of them work autonomously out in the community.
Okay.
So,
do you plan on opening other offices then?
At this point, we do not have any major plans. So, like I said, Newton's the lucky spot right now to get us coming as part of their community.
All right. Do you know, now you haven't opened the office yet, so I might be jumping the gun on the next question, but do you know what your hours are going to be?
Our hours are going to be 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday.
All right.
We also, which we haven't touched on really, the other piece that we do have as part of Wesley Life at Home is our community nutrition. So a lot of people know that as Meals on Wheels. Meals on Wheels really serves kind of Polk County and right surrounding. But with us kind of making this jump into Newton, we're going to look at providing frozen meals, which could actually be picked up at our office. We're also going to look at Meals on Wheels has a hydroponic farm, so they grow greens in the basement of their building here over by Drake. And we're also going to look at selling some of those greens out of our office as well that people would have access to.
Oh, well, that's neat. Farm to table, basically.
Farm to table, that's exactly right.
That is absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, this is a pretty neat idea. It really is. And it's a kind of thing where people do want to be taken care of at home, unless, that can't be. So I wish you guys the best of luck. What else do you want to tell us about Wesley Life at Home and your future plans?
I think you hit it on the head earlier, Jamie, when you had said that, most people want to be at home. And I think one of the biggest wins with Wesley Life at Home is that we basically can fill almost every gap that you might need. A lot of places specialize in one thing, but so then if you need another service, you have to utilize, another company, or it's that constant handoff. And that's really the nice thing is that you have home health. We're going to be done with home health. Oh, maybe you need palliative care, or do you need someone to come in just a couple hours a week and help you with that? We can do all of those transitions internally with usually a simple phone call. So I think that's the really big thing is that we're one of the few that provides that full complement of services in the home.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry. One other thing I'd like to talk about is when people think about Wesley Life, they don't think about us as being a nonprofit. And we get a lot of donations in hospice from the patients and the families that we've served. And we give all of those dollars right back into our patients and families that we're currently serving. It's been a massive mission for us to be able to support people in their homes at end of life, whatever that would look like. Last year for Jasper County, we used $22,000 of donated funds to support people within Jasper County. And that's pretty incredible, whether it's utilizing our in-home services, whether it's at Mercy One Newton, helping people stay there if they're transitioning to end of life quickly. We've done some room and board at Park Center. So really, the sky is the limit for what we're willing to do to help people.
I didn't know that. So the hospice is a nonprofit.
Our hospice agency is a nonprofit.
Yes.
And one of the benefits is I'm a social worker, and so by trade. So I'm really, really focused on doing what we can to help people stay in their home through end of life, no matter what. And if they want to go someplace else, we will absolutely help them too. Our social worker team is phenomenal. And we also have our Wesley Life Wishes too, which is pretty cool that we use our donated funds for. And we do a lot, especially with young parents, with children. We do a lot with military. We're the only We Honor Veterans Level 5 program in central Iowa. So we've had specialized training to help veterans at end of life. And then we train other facilities and other agencies on how to do that as well. So we take our jobs very seriously, and we're very passionate about the people that we serve.
Well, you folks do a good job, and I can give a testimonial to that because of my sister. And I don't know if you guys can speak to this or not. The Good Samaritan Fund. I know if Lisa Zylster were here, she would probably want me to put in a plug for that. But that's one of the things that I really like about Wesley Life Park Center, and that's one of the things that sold me on making sure my sister got into Park Center. And Amy, maybe you could speak to that.
Sure. Our Good Samaritan funds, so our philanthropy funds through Wesley Hospice, we call it our Wesley Wish, and that's what we use. But our Good Samaritan funds in our buildings, once you're in the building, we don't want people to have to move out because of not having that funding that they need. And so people make donations into the Good Samaritan fund. And so if you're in independent living and you, for some reason, run out of money, because you've been there for a long time or whatever that circumstance is, through assisted living, through the care center, through the memory care center, that's what those Good Samaritan funds are used for, to keeping people in our buildings through end of life so they don't have to move out. Some other buildings, what they don't tell you is when you run out of money, then they'll refer to you to another agency. And that's also what's special about our nonprofit status.
Well, I wish you guys the best of luck, and when you have your ribbon cutting, make sure you invite me, okay?
Without a doubt.
Absolutely, Jamie.
I will be there with bells on. If people want more information on Wesley Life at Home and all your services, Stacy, maybe could you give us some contact information?
Yeah, absolutely. We're very easy to look up on the web. Obviously, Wesley Life, you can search and you can find the home. You also can reach out to us. Our main number is 515-978-2777. That's going to be the number that's on our Newton door too, which is going to bring you right to this office. If you need connected with the Newton office, they'll do that. But this is kind of where the hub is and all the things come out of. So
it's Good Friday, and so, God bless you guys for what you do. Again, I said it so many times, but I'm just so happy my sister, for the last few years of her life, was at Wesley Life Park Center, and I can't say enough about the great care that she received. You brought up Dr. Edwards. A lot of people in Newton think the best doctor in Newton. There's a lot of great doctors in Newton, so I don't want to single him out, but I do know that when he retired from Newton Clinic, there were a lot of people that were disappointed, but he decided he wanted to stay with Park Center because he loves working with the elderly. And Anna and Jason and all the crew there at hospice did a great job. And I'm glad that my sister was in such good hands. It just, you have no idea. You guys have no idea how it touches me. And if I'm going to keep going, I'm going to start getting emotional. So I'm going to just cut it off right here. But guys, check into Wesley Life Park Center and Wesley Life at Home, and they'll be opening an office soon. Yep. Do you have a projected date for this, Stacy?
I'm going to say we're going to be open by May 1st. Like I said, really, we have all the nuts and bolts done. It's just some of the last details that we're finalizing.
And it sounds to me like they're going to be in the old Bloom and Nails location next to the Red Pride Cafe. So check that out and get a hold of Wesley Life at Home. Mm-hmm. Other fine sponsors for this podcast include Lynette Baker, Halo Branded Solutions, Westside Java Coffee Bar, along with Maid-Rite Sandwich Shop in downtown Newton, and Jersey Freeze in Monroe. Until next time, grrr, out is out. See ya.